A very good evening to all our viewers. Salam sejahtera in Malaysia, konbanwa in Japan. If you are tuning in from the West, a very good morning. Welcome to the fourth episode of Thursday Talk Show, JLfest 2021. Thank you for taking the time to join me, Kumar, from University Technology of Malaysia, Johor. I'll be your host for the next 1 hour. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. With the theme Why Japanese? In our first episode of Thursday Talk Show, we had His Excellency the Ambassador of Japan to Malaysia, then followed with 4 students, 2 undergraduate and 2 diploma students who are beginning their studies education journey in Japan in our second edition. And in our third episode, we met 2 Malaysian students who are pursuing their postgraduate studies in Japan. And today, in our fourth episode, we are moving a step further. Career in Japan, working in Japan. Now, there is always the impression that Japanese are very hardworking, strict disciplinarians, work long hours, very strict time managers. So, is it difficult to work there? Can Malaysians cope? Now, how do I go about to get a job in Japan? Must I be a student in Japan to be able to work in Japan? Or can I be a student or graduate from Malaysia and get a job in Japan? I'm sure many of our viewers might be thinking about this. Now, for the answers, sit back and enjoy our show where we will be joined by 3 inspiring Malaysian youth who took different routes going to Japan and now they are successfully working in Japan with Japanese company. I'll be interviewing them, say, about 45 minutes, and will allocate the last 10 minutes for you, dear viewers, for your question and answer session. If you have any doubts or you like to ask any questions to our panel, please type in our comment box, and our technical team who is working behind the screen will group them and direct it to the respective panel during the Q&A. So, without further ado, let me introduce our first panel, Miss Ku Zi Shin. Hi, Miss Ku. Hi, welcome to our show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Is it hot in Japan today?
Yes, it's
Yes.
very
Oh, okay. Hi, Miss Ku. Can you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Minasan konbanwa. My name is Zixing, and I am 37 years old this year. I'm from Penang, a typical Penang lang. And for information, I'm not from the island. I'm from the mainland. I did my bachelor's in Tokyo University of Agriculture, and currently I work as an embryologist. My clinic is localized in Chiba, which is specialized in infertility. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Wow, from Penang. It's very nice to hear that. You must be missing Penang char kway teow there.
Yeah, I miss it a lot.
Okay, next we have a hero, Mr. Z Al-Habshi. Konbanwa, Z-san.
Konbanwa.
Thanks for joining us tonight. O genki desu ka?
Genki desu. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you in. Can you please just tell us about yourself?
Yes, my name is Z Al-Habshi bin Said Abdul Hamid. So I am from Johor Bahru, Johor, and I am graduated from Tokai University in my bachelor's and master degree. And currently I'm working in Equinix, which in Tokyo. So yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Oh, we had Miss Ku from North, and now you are from South of Peninsular Malaysia. That's nice. Okay, now how about our third panelist? Where do you think she came from? So next one is heroine, Miss Winnie Ho. Hi, Miss Winnie. Welcome to our show today.
Konbanwa.
Konbanwa. Thank you for your precious time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Our viewers would like to know about you.
Okay, so my name is Winnie and I'm 26 this year. I graduated from University Technology Malaysia in Johor Bahru, and I'm now currently working as electronics engineer in Kyoto.
Wow, from UTM Johor Bahru. Very
Yes.
nice to have you with us today. And how lucky we are. We have somebody from North, we have somebody from South of Peninsula, and now we have somebody from East Malaysia. A good
Yes.
representation of Malaysia today.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome to all our three panelists. Now, for our viewers, I'll be addressing them how they do in Japanese. That means I'll use the sang behind their name. So Zishin sang, Z sang, and Winnie sang. Okay, I will drop the Miss and Mister. I'll use sang. So hope you understand. Okay, now Mrs. We'll start with Zishin sang. You said that you are an embryologist. Now, what do you do? What is your job scope?
Okay, my job is to make a family dream come true with science. So to simplify it, I make test tube babies. As embryologist, I work in a team with doctors and nurse to help couples with reproductive health issues. So basically, I work in the lab and take care of the embryos. We will freeze the embryo once the embryo reach a ideal size and a certain number of cells. And when the body condition of the mother is in the good condition, then we will defrost the embryos and put it back to the mother's womb to achieve pregnancy.
Wow, you are like playing a part of a creator, helping to create human life
I'm
on Earth.
choosing life.
Wow, wow, we are lucky to have you in today. And you said that you're working in Chiba. That means
Yes,
your clinic is in Chiba.
yes,
Talking about Chiba, many will be thinking about Disneyland.
yes. I'm fortunate enough that my clinic is very near to Disneyland.
Wow. So it's like every day you see Disneyland and Disney Sea while going to work.
Every day is magic.
Oh, every day is magic. There are people who are dreaming to visit the
Yeah,
magic land, correct? And for you, it is just around neighborhood.
yes. That's why
Yeah.
we have to share the same and we make dream come true.
Wow, that's nice. That's nice. You better tell the clinic that you said this today, okay? And now, how long have you been attached to the clinic?
Currently is my third year as Shakaijin.
Third year.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's nice. Now let's move to Z-san. Z-san, you said that you are now you are a operational engineer, right?
Yeah, operation engineer.
So can you just tell us what do you do? What's your job scope?
After hearing Zixing's Sang explanation about her job scope, I think my kind of like job scope is quite simple because simply said, I am operation engineer, but I'm focusing on network monitoring. So I'm monitoring the network of client, so to make sure their network is there is to prevent any downtime or and also to prevent from any security threat. So basically, I'm focusing on internet network security and also the internet network.
Wow, that sounds something very important in this modern.
Yeah, especially during right now with this coronavirus. So like most of the
Yes,
companies are
yes.
doing work from home. So in that sense, the demands for network is really increasing. So there's also needs the commitment of our work as well because we need to
Oh,
monitor really hard about that.
oh, okay. That's nice to hear. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is your second job in Japan, correct?
Yes, this is my second
Before
company.
this, you were attached to?
Before this, I worked at in Fujitsu, Japan, as a maintenance engineer. So that time I was focused more on the hardware stuff, which is, for example, if there's any hardware problem, so I went to the data center and I do the troubleshoot and I change the hardware. Maybe like changing the hard drive, changing the PSU or any other else. But right now, I'm more onto the not 100% software, but a little bit in the medium about that. So
I
instead
see.
of doing hardware, I'm focusing on the monitor and just doing basically just sitting in front of the computer typing like that.
I see. Okay. How long were you attached to Fujitsu?
Fujitsu, I worked for about 3 years and a half.
And now in this company?
And in this company, I work. This is my second year.
Oh, so altogether you have been working for 5 years in Japan.
Around 5 years plus.
Okay, that's nice to hear from Zed-san. Now we move to Winnie-san. How about you, Winnie-san? You said that you are an engineer at Kyoto.
Yes.
Yeah, people might be, when they hear Kyoto, wow, it's a beautiful, historical, another place where everybody would like to visit when they visit Japan, right? So you are lucky you are living and working in Japan in Kyoto now. So
Yes.
what is your job scope?
For my job scope, because I'm an electronic engineer, but because I'm in medical field, so basically my job scope is that I design electronics board, and then I'll have to, besides drawing it, I'll have to like prepare all the components that is needed to build one board, and then we have this factory in our company as well. By the way, I work in R&D department, so I'll be in charge in designing. And then after that, we'll pass it to the production line, and then they'll produce the boards. When it's done, we'll have to do experiment to test out the boards, whether it's working or not. And because I'm in medical field, it like somehow our product it's quite, how do I say, it's related to human lives, so we have to be extra careful. So we have to carry out experiment to make sure that all the measurements, the results are safe to be used to be sold. So I'll have to do experiments on that. And then once we are sure that these boards are safe to be used, we'll have to do some prototypes, because now we're like developing new products. So we'll have to like do some prototype, and then only then to pass to the next team for them to carry out experiments.
Oh, that sounds interesting. That means your job is like creating new things. That means it's every day something is new?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, and we have somebody who is like a god creating life. And then we have another two who is supporting life on Earth, correct? Wow, that's interesting, and it's interesting to have three of you here. Thank you. I really appreciate your time and participation today. Now, thank you for all the information. Now, next, let us rewind and take a time travel machine back to the past. Okay. Now, when did you actually start learning Japanese language, or when did you start having interest in Japanese language, and why? Right? How about you, Zishin-san?
Wow, I think the time travel back to 8 years ago. I actually I'm interested to learn Japanese because I was a die-hard core anime fan. I used to be an otaku.
Oh,
I love Naruto and those Shingeki no Kyojin, this kind of stuff. But I decided to learn Japanese when after I finished my STPM.
I see.
Yes.
So it means you finished your STPM in Penang,
Yes, in Penang.
and then where did you start your Japanese language?
I did 4 months intensive Japanese language course also in Japan.
Oh,
Yes.
in
No.
Penang.
In Penang, sorry. In Penang for 4
In
months.
Penang, okay.
Then after that, I fly to Japan and I did another 1 year Japanese course.
That means you already made up your mind when you finished STPM or before STPM, or when you were watching all the Narutos that you would like to go to Japan one day.
Actually, when I started to watch Naruto, I have the interest to learn Japanese. Then after that, I was debating with my family, can I go to Japan please for 2 years? Then after that, I finished my STM. Then I started the language school.
Oh, so officially you started learning after STPM?
Yes.
4 months in Penang, then you came to Japan and did your diploma for a year, is it?
The Japanese language only for a year.
For a year?
Yes.
Oh, I see. And then you entered the university in Japan?
Yes. I did my
And the
bachelor's.
university is Tokyo Agriculture University, is it?
Yes.
Yes. And the field you chose, the major, was it your first choice? That was your
Yes.
area you were interested?
Yes, I love biology. So I picked Nodai because there's some research that I'm interested to. So
I
that's
see.
it. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting to see your journey on Japanese language. How about you, Zetsan?
My first I studied Japanese was back in during high school, because during that time in my high school it's compulsory to learn a new language, which was during that time we have Japanese, Arabics and French. And during that time, because like during children, maybe a little bit same as Zicin, because during that time like children love to watch this kind of like anime, but during my time it was like Doraemon and Shinchan. So just thinking that if I have a little bit of knowledge in Japanese, so maybe I can start watching like Japanese anime without reading the subtitles, or maybe like reading the Japanese manga like that. So basically that's the main reason I chose Japanese. So I started learning Japanese during high school.
Oh, so you said that you are from Johor Bahru. That means you did
Yes,
your primary education in Johor Bahru,
primary in Johor Bahru,
and then
and then
your secondary.
my secondary school was in Sekolah Dato' Abdul Razak in Seremban.
Oh, maybe some of your juniors might have been listening to you from SDA. They'll be happy to see a
Yeah.
super duper senior there. Okay, so I mean, you chose Japanese. Was it your like first choice, or it was like, okay, out of a few foreign languages, I have to choose one, so I'll just choose
Yeah,
Japanese.
in all honesty, it was the latter, because
Oh,
during
like
that
that.
time I didn't have the really rigid intention of like I want to study in Japan, or like having a really having a nice life in Japan or anything. But during that time I was just like, okay, just to fulfill the requirement from the
Requirement.
school, so I just choose the new language. Just so I chose Japanese.
So it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was for 4 years, correct?
4 years.
Form one to
4 years.
Form 5 or Form 1 to Form 4?
No, it was, yeah, 4 years. 4 years or 3 years.
4 years.
Sorry, I forgot.
No.
Okay, but at that time there was nothing in you that you wanted to go to Japan or you wanted to work in Japan. Nothing.
I didn't have that kind of like really high motivation to
I
pursue my
see.
study in Japan. It's just more like,
Okay,
okay, just choose this language and just fulfill the requirement.
okay, I understand. No, I think most of the students are as same in as
Mm.
how you are thinking. Then, what happened after SPM?
So basically, actually during my high school, I was prefer more towards Western, because yeah, my intention is I want to pursue my study in Europe country, in UK or anything, because I don't want to learn any new language. Because like for example, if you go to UK, just use English, right? So you don't need to focus on any new language. So basically, after SPM, the first letter I received was the scholarship to Japan, because I applied for another scholarship as well. But the first scholarship I received was to further study to Japan. And I still remember during that times, like I don't want to take this scholarship. I want to wait for another opportunity.
Scholarship.
But my mom told me is that like because it's like you already got this scholarship, so it's a waste to just like throw it away, because you cannot like sure if you can get another scholarship for the next time, right? So I just took her advice and yeah, follow her advice and pursue my study in Japan. And yeah, here I am right now. Looking back at that
Oh,
decision, I think that's the best decision I made, actually.
so
Thank
there
you,
must be a
Mama.
very a big special thanks to your mom then.
Yes.
Yes. So where did you do like Jishin-san? She did 4 months in Penang, then she did
Mhm.
her 1 year in Japan. How about you? Your Japanese language foundation.
For my Japanese program, it was under Mara. So I entered the Japanese Association Degree Program, JED program. So right after SPM, we entered the JED program and we studied 3 years in Malaysia. So the program is more like twinning program, which is 3+2 program for
Okay.
degree. So we did 3 years in Malaysia and then plus another 2 years in Japan.
I see.
Really?
So you mean
So
you did two
in
years?
2 years in Malaysia, basically the first year is only focused on Japanese. And from the second year, we start doing the degree first year. And then degree second year. And then we fly to Japan, we continue to do degree third year and fourth year in Japan.
Oh, I see. It was like a
Mhm.
tuning program. Then
Yeah,
you
so it's
came to
basically
Tokai
more like training
University.
program.
and third year, fourth year, and if I'm not mistaken, you continued until your master's, correct?
Yes. And actually, when I entered the JAD program, I already made my decision. I want to stay in Japan a bit longer because I want to gain a little bit more experience. Because from the JAD programs like 3+2, if like only 2 years in Japan, it's actually really short for me.
I
So
see.
during that time, I already decided that I want to continue master, and if possible, I want to work in Japan as well. Like maybe gain little bit more experience on like working experience.
I
So
see.
that's why
So,
after degree, I continue my masters as well, plus another 2 years.
so the dream of going to the West was cemented by the Japanese language.
Yeah, so basically my dream of going to the West is already I already forgot about it and just right now enjoy my life here in Japan.
Oh, okay. And if I'm not mistaken, your major in Tokai University was in mechanical engineering, right?
Yes, it was mechanical engineering and specializing in automotive engineering.
But just now you said you are a operational manager now, and you are doing with data, and how is it? Is it?
Yeah, it's quite funny, but how to say? Yeah, because I love cars, that's why I chose automotive engineering, and at the same time, I love computer as well.
I
So
see.
while doing my shukatsu, I applied for automotive industries, but following the job hunting session, because we did a little bit like went to the factory and all those stuff. I just felt like it doesn't suit me, so that's why I turned to IT
IT.
industry.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Okay, now let's look at Winnie-san. Now, Winnie-san, how about you? When did you start learning Japanese, and where did you do it, and how did you come to Japan?
For my case, because I studied in UTM, so we have to have, like same as Zetsan, we have to fill this requirement in order to graduate. So we'll
Yeah,
have to take this foreign language during our fourth year. So, but when I entered during my first year, my senior told me, just have to grab it now because by the time when you go to fourth year, you might not be able to grab it because it's limited. So we have that Kiasu spirit. So when I was first year, I think that was like 6 years ago. So there were like four different electives, if I'm not mistaken: Japanese, Mandarin, Arabic, and French. And because I'm Chinese, and as you can tell, we're not allowed to take Mandarin.
Mhm.
right.
So for Arabic, I think it's too complicated and hard for me. And for French, I have no interest at all. For Japanese, I'm not like Zixing that I'm not really into anime and stuff, but my brothers, they do watch. But I only watch as they watch, and they don't really watch the one with the, how do I say, the one in Japanese. They watch those which
Okay.
has the subtitles and stuff.
Mhm.
So I would say like it's a coincidence that I took this class. And then for your information, Kuma Sensei is my Japanese teacher when I was
Oh
in UTM.
yeah, she's my
And there's
student.
another teacher. His name is Lo Sang. They both taught me really well. So at first, I only started. No, at first, I only wanted to take one class in order to fulfill that. But
Yes,
because the first Japanese lesson, it was very interesting. Like the lecture isn't the same as the one that we normally get from other lectures, like different subjects. So I would like to say thank you for making me what I am
okay.
today. Thank
Oh,
you.
so okay, so you fell in love with Japanese in UTM.
I would say so.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
I shouldn't be asking too many things, then I'll be like talking about UTM. Okay. But that is just it's an elective subject for one semester.
Mm.
Then how did you then further your Japanese language?
How did I further? Oh, I remember. Because we have this Japanese class, they have this Japanese 1, Japanese 2, Japanese 3. So you will have to take Japanese 1 in order to continue Japanese 2 and Japanese 3. So I took up Japanese 1 when I was in my first semester in my first year. So after completing it, it was really fun and interesting. So I took up the next one. And then after taking up the next one, I was like, maybe something's not enough. Maybe I should further more. Like we have that Yasu spirit. So I went for the third one. And then coincidentally, we have this like JLPT course offered by the university. So I just took it up. And then I think, yeah, that's how I ended up here. Just
And
pursuing more and more and more.
while you were in UTM, till which level of JLPT did you reach?
When I was in UTM, I managed to reach N2 before I graduated. Yeah, because they have this one agent from Japan. They're recruiting students from Asia. So they came to my university and they provide this like intensive Japanese language class for those who are interested in working in Japan. So I think initially I was like that, like I don't really have this like desire that I must work in Japan. I just took up the chance because they said everyone is welcome. Like as long as you fulfill the requirements, you're open to take like apply for the class. And I was like, initially I was rejected because I was only in my second year, and then they prioritize those who are in third year and fourth year because they can graduate in like 1 or 2 years and then they can come to Japan. So I was rejected at first when I was in second year, and then I think during the end of my second year or third year, I got a call from them saying that like you applied this and then we rejected you because you're still in your second year. And then they said, because we have these vacancies in the class, would you like to join us? So I took up the class and it's like a fast track class. And that's how I managed to reach N2 before I graduated from UTM.
So you
Yeah.
started your Japanese language from zero in first year,
Yes.
and by the time you were in third year, you reached N2. That's an achievement. Congrats,
Yes.
congrats.
すごい。
すごいですね。はい。Okay, that's nice to hear your Japanese language journey and how it has helped you. Now, so next we come to how did you, you know, in Japan they have this shukatsu, finding for job, and then okay, and if I'm not mistaken, Japanese students, from the third year onwards, they start doing job hunting, and you are supposed to have a job before you graduate and so on. So can you share your experience with us, Dishin-san and Zed-san? How about you, Zed-san?
Yeah, it was really tiring
Oh, tiring.
because job hunting in Japan, or basically they just tell shukatsu. It says shukatsu. So basically they start. I don't know about now, but during my time it start during April and ends by around August, September, like that. Depends on when do you get your offer letter. So in my case, I did mine starting from May, and I got my first offer letter was around July. So basically, it was
Oh,
like
that's
two,
fast.
3 months. And what was really tiring was because like during those time, it is like during summer period,
Yes.
especially July and August. It is like peak summer period, and it was not like COVID, like, because right now during this COVID you just doing the job hunting while online, but during those time we need to go to the company. And for Japanese job hunting, they have, like, for example, the in general the steps, like first you join the seminar, which is the introduction seminar about the company, and after that you send your resume. If you're interested in the company, you need to send your resume, and after you elected from the resume, you need to sit for an SPI test, which is I Google this, which is the name is synthetic personality inventory. And because I'm from Rike, I'm from science stream, so I applied for engineering work. So basically, the SPI test consists test in for Japanese, mathematics, and English. They will tell you
Oh.
about these three subjects. So after you pass the SPI test, it's time for you to sit for an interview. And in general, interview they have like 3 to 5 times interview, depends on company. And after you successful all the interview, then you get the offer letter.
So in each company, you have to go through maybe about 3 to 4 or 5 times of interviews.
Yeah, the list was like 3 times interview.
I understand.
I hate.
So
Honestly, it's really tiring. It's really tiring.
how many companies did you attend and how many interviews did you attend?
I lost count about the interview
How many?
because I think yeah, quite a lot because like one company need to sit for like 3 to 4 or 5 times. I don't know, but in total I applied around 8 companies.
Wow.
So yeah, it's different. Some companies maybe drop at first interview. Some companies maybe I managed to go until second interview. Some companies until last interview. Yeah, it's different. But in total,
I
I
see.
applied for 8 companies.
So the company which you got the offer was the Fujitsu.
Actually, I got three.
Oh, three.
Got,
Wow.
yeah, three offer letter in the end. So from the three, I make decision. I chose Fujitsu.
Oh, I see Fujitsu.
Hmm.
Wow. So it was like the playing terms is exactly the same for Japanese and for foreign students. Or do they have
Yes.
any special criteria for foreign
Uh,
students?
I think I don't know, but from my understanding, you can have a little bit kind of like fast track if you apply for Suisen. I mean like recommendation from your university. But as I mentioned before, like I'm focused on automotive engineering. So if I would like to apply for recommendation from my university, my department could only give a recommendation to apply for automotive company.
I see.
But in my case, I want to apply for ICT for IT company. So I couldn't apply for the Suisen for the recommendation. So I need to follow the usual flow or same as the other Japanese doing the doing the job hunting.
Wow, that's interesting. There must be a very tough experience
Yeah.
waiting for that. But at that time, you decided that you want to work in Japan.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay. How about you, Zishin-san?
Actually, mine is quite different with Jet Sang. I didn't hunted for a job, but I got hunted by the job.
Wow, you must be very
No.
special then.
Yeah. That time I was during my fourth year in my university, and it happens that my professor in my lab, he is the president of the Society of Japanese Ovum Club.
Oh,
Yeah, he is the VIP in this field, and one of my senpai, she works in my current clinic, and she offers an internship to me and asking me whether you want to give it a try or not. Then at first I was like, what is embryologist? I never heard before. I didn't even know the existence of this career at all. Then after that, I search online, and there weren't so much information about it. But then I was thinking, just give it a try. So I went for internship for almost a year. But
oh
then
yeah.
after 6 months, my boss, she's like, we everything's go really well. And although I didn't know nothing, I did not know anything about embryologists, but the complexity of sperm and the ovum and how the growing process of embryo is like, it's so fascinating. Like everything is so cute. It's like a different universe. Then my boss, she is a very inspiring person too. So she offered me the job. Then I just get the job directly.
Wow, so you must be very lucky, isn't it? Not
Yes,
like
I
Zetsa who went through many interviews and it must be the tussle of preparing for interview, attending interview, the stress, and after that waiting for the results. Wow, you are very lucky.
after listening to Jet Russell's wow.
Yes, yes. Now, how about you, Vinny-san? You okay? So you said that you finished, and then you prepared your N2 and so on. Then how about these job interviews and so on? How did you go about getting this?
As I mentioned just now, there's this agent that they provide this like fast track class for those who are interested in working in Japan. So initially I was like, okay, maybe I can take this up and then just like attend the class. And then one day they decided like to, because I already filled out all the forms. So I'm in their database. So once I fulfill the requirements, they asked me to film a like 1 minute video to introduce myself. And then because they're an agent, so they'll send my videos to all the companies that like, how do I say, get their help to hire talents. So for that agent, as long as you get like selected by 3 companies for interviews, they'll send you all the way from Malaysia to Japan for the interview.
Oh, so
And
you were flown to Japan to attend an interview.
yes,
Wow, that's lucky.
yes, I was really lucky. But when they first offered me, I was having my internship in KL, so I rejected them. And then I was offered again when I entered my final year in UTM. So I submitted my video. They have, because I wasn't good in Japanese, like in speaking. So I was kind of afraid that whether I can get this job or not. And then they have this like special mentor one-to-one training with you, preparing you to get like how do you secure a job in Japan. They'll have interview with you like one to one 1 hour every week. So I was lucky that I hit the minimum requirement. I got like selected by 3 companies for interview. But unfortunately, I failed the first 2 because they said that it's a must to have your interview in Japanese. And
Oh,
yeah, I was not confident enough, so I failed. But I was lucky that the current company that I was working in, because it's a multinational company, so they said it's okay to have my interview in English as long as I'm comfortable. Like they said, if you're comfortable with Japanese, you can go with it. But if you're not, you can choose to have your interview in English.
I see.
So because like as compared to Japanese, I would say that I'll be more confident speaking in English. So I did my
Okay.
best, and yeah, I got the job like after 2 interviews.
And this whole session of interview, it was you were flown to Japan just to attend the interviews, and everything was paid for.
Yeah, it was like a free trip. Yeah.
Wow.
And then once you got the job, they'll bring you for a free company tour in Japan.
Oh,
So I
Wow.
did that as well.
so where was the interview in Tokyo?
Yeah, the interview was in Tokyo.
Then you were taken to Kyoto to visit the company.
And no,
Oh,
because I'm in Kyoto now because the main branch is in Kyoto, but they have
oh, I
this
see.
sub branches in Tokyo. So after finishing my interview, they on the next day they took me to have a visit to their like Tokyo branch to briefly show me what their company does or specialize in. Yeah.
Oh, then I think many viewers who are now studying Japanese in Malaysia will be motivated from your route reaching Japan, correct? It's not, it's different from Z-san and Zishin-san. Congrats, congrats. And
Thank
when 3 of you, decided like Z-san, Zishin-san in Japan went to study, Zishin-san about 5 years away from family, and then now decided to work in Japan. What was your family's reaction? Did they support or they were worried? Or...
They are worried, I think, but they're kind of supportive. They just said, "Follow your dream, my girl." So I just,
Oh,
yeah.
Z-san, at first your mom?
Yeah, my answer will be probably the same as Zisin Sang because my parents are quite supportive, and also my parents also like always told me like to go gain a lot of like experience. So for me, getting an experience working abroad is really a great experience. Like it's not everyone can have the chance, the opportunity to have the experience of working abroad. So that's what I'm
Yes.
doing it right now.
Yes, very true, very true. How about you, Inisa? I think when you entered UTM, there was not even a single dream of you working in Japan, correct?
Yeah.
What
So
was your dream? What was your dream when you entered UTM actually?
my dream when I entered UTM, to be honest, there's no specific ambition that I would like to be. I'm not that ambitious, but I have always wanted to travel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my parents, I would say my mom is supportive like Zixing and Zed, but my dad, he is quite conservative. So he didn't even know that I went to Japan all the way for the interview. He
Oh, I
thought,
see.
No, you keep
he
it
thought,
secret.
yeah, it was a secret. Even after I got the job, I signed the contract. He didn't know anything about it.
Oh no.
Yeah, but he's the type that he knows that I'm stubborn, so I just do everything that I want, and then slowly he will somehow accept it. Yeah.
Uh, but how is he happy now seeing the daughter in
Yeah,
Kyoto?
he's happy right now that he wants to come for a visit for vacation. Yeah.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. That's nice. That's the best present you should give him. Okay, wow, wow. That's nice to hear how you all went through and got a job in Japan. So now, in Japan, we understand that once you are hired, they have this Nusha ceremony, and then they have this orientation, adaptation. It's a culture, if I'm not mistaken, in Japanese companies, right? So can you share how was it your experience that so-called orientation? How long was it, and was it tough? Maybe our viewers would like to listen. How about we start with Zetsang?
My experience for orientation, I can talk about my orientation for my first company,
Okay,
because my
sure,
current
sure, sure.
company I don't have any orientation because I just
Yeah.
changed it. So my orientation for the first company I can say is quite exciting
Oh,
because I entered the company in April. So the orientation lasts until November. So we have like 7 months for
7
orientation.
months of orientation.
Yeah. So
Yes.
what I mean by exciting, so basically because the orientation is like they really teach everything from zero. I mean like because I entered an IT company, so they really teach from zero about computers. Like okay, so this is hard disk, this is monitor.
Oh,
So like
okay.
even the person without zero knowledge of computer will know about that. So they have this like beginner class, intermediate class and advanced class, and everyone, I mean like all my batch, we are all together until intermediate class, and from there it was divided, depends on the department. And because I was going to enter a maintenance engineer department, so I'm focusing on advanced class and the related, and learning about the related stuff. And what I mean by interesting is because like apart from classes, my orientation also we did a volunteerism, because I did a volunteerism for the Tohoku earthquake, because Japan had suffered the Tohoku earthquake in 2011. So my company did a volunteering at the Tohoku. So we went there, we helped the villagers over there, and we heard their stories like live from them from first hand.
Wow,
So
that's interesting.
yes, that's really interesting. We have like I think it's like 4 days I think sitting with them, and after the Tohoku we have the Hiroshima as well. We did the volunteering with the Hiroshima stuff. Hiroshima we learn about the atomic bomb stuff. They have this memorial peace museum, so we learn a lot about them. Maybe they want to teach you apart from learning about how the companies work. Maybe they want to try to teach about the Japanese culture. Maybe they want to insert a little bit of like Japanese culture inside all of us over there. So
Wow,
it's a
that
really nice
7 months
experience.
orientation, it's quite, some people
Yeah,
say,
it's
wow,
quite
it's
long, yeah.
long, correct?
And because
How
like
about,
basically most of the time we just learning, so basically it's more like I learn, I get knowledge, and at the same time the salary still is continue as usual. So I get the
yeah,
salary and also I get the
it-
knowledge. So it's really
and
like free
you are
bonus.
you are paid to learn, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Not to
free
work
to
yet.
learn.
How about Zichi-san? Your clinic, was there any orientation?
Actually, my clinic, we don't have a specific period for orientations, but once we get into the clinic, we were attached by one senpai. So the senpai will teach us the basic like laboratory techniques and stuff we need to take care about it. Yeah. So there's
So
about it.
yours is a very special track, correct?
Yeah, 做得起哦。
Yeah. So it's nice. Winnie-san, how was your orientation? How long was it?
My orientation, I entered my company last March, and then the orientation, it depends whether you're Eigyo or you're like Kaihatsu. But it was from April until December last year.
Wow.
Like, yeah, but everyone will have the same orientation for like 2 weeks, and then it's divided into like Eigyo, they will have their own training, and then Kaihatsu, they will have their own training. But because I'm in Kaihatsu, we have 2 months of production training where they prepare you to get all the skills like soldering and then piping and stuff, because you need the cert in order to the skills to prove that you are qualified to do this. So they have this, after the 2 months production training, like same as Zixing, we're attached to one job coach, and then they'll teach us what to do, like what we're supposed to do for the next few months.
Oh, that's interesting. Then so let's come back to the present now. Okay. Now, you know this impression people have that Japanese people work long hours. You know, they don't go back early. They work long hours. It's difficult to work in Japan. How are your working hours? Clinic, Zishin-san?
Mine, I have a God blessed job. I work 8 to 5 and no OT.
No OT.
No at all.
Zesa? Yours, with this present situation, maybe you have to work long hours?
Not really, because my current company, I'm working in shift because we need to operate 24 hours. So we're working in shift. So basically, after we finish our shift, so we just go back home. It is strictly prohibited to do OT. It's like an unspoken rule.
How about you, Winnie-san? Your company?
My company, they don't encourage us to do OT, and then they have this broadcast every day, every morning. They'll say, "Kyo wa no zangyo de desu." Like they'll remind you every day so that you don't do overtime. So I go back right on time every day as well.
Oh, so things are changing in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how about public holidays? Malaysia, they say there are many public holidays. How about Japan?
I think there's a lot of public holiday in Japan also, right?
Yes, correct. Many people do know about this secret. Can you just share? Many, correct? And they have a very unique way of connecting the weekends to the public holidays.
Yeah. We always have Yonlenkyu, and we have Umi no Hi, the day of the sea. What else? Yama no Hi, mountains, day of mountains.
Forest.
Yeah.
So mainly big holiday in Japan is divided by 3, which is during Golden Week, which is April and May, and during Obon, which is during August, and at the end is the final end of the year, which is December and January. And apart from that, we have this like small holiday, which like consecutive with Saturday and Sunday. Then you will get like 3 consecutive holiday or maybe 4 consecutive holiday. It's like that. So
they have the rank queue, correct? 3 days, 4 days. Yeah, that's interesting about Japanese public holidays. Now, how about after you have been working in Japan so far, what do you think was the most challenging aspect of you face at job or you have ever faced till to date? Dishin-san.
Personally speaking, although I have N1, but I still find it hard to use Keigo, which means respectful Japanese. Usually, friendly is welcome most of the time, but Keigo is a different style, which is they require formality, especially when you talk with your senpai who has a higher social standing. So I always find a hard time speaking in the perfect Keigo.
I totally understand.
Right.
How about you, Vinisa? You very limited preparation of Japanese. What is your most challenging aspect? Is it language?
Yeah, it is language, but my concern is that Keigo is not my concern in company because we don't use Keigo at all.
Oh,
Oh,
And
I
then
see.
yeah, we don't use Keigo at all. But the thing is that because I'm in Kyoto, they speak Kansai band.
no.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and the
Mhm.
one that I learned, it's totally different. So when I first came here, I was like, "What? What's that? What's that?" Like, I I won't know until I ask them. And
Yeah,
Oh,
also,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So,
so
so,
it's kind
so,
of
so
hard.
for our viewers, what Winnie Sang meant was Kansai band is like kind of dialect. Like in Malaysia, we have our Bahasa Malaysia, the Kelantanese speak
Logat,
slightly a different logat, correct?
logat.
Ecek Lante, correct? So the Kyoto, they have a slightly a different Japanese, the Kansai band, they call it. Okay, that's interesting. How about you, Zed-san? What was the most challenging aspect?
Probably maybe a little bit about like Japanese. Sometimes they expect us to work like them, to work same like them. It's like maybe because the Japanese like really peculiar about some things. Like for example, if they decided to do something, they will think about like what if happen if this, what will happen if this, what will happen if this. But for us Malaysian, we will think like if we want to do this, just do it lah. So
yeah.
I
That's
see.
true.
during the meeting, sometimes I have a little bit of difficulties like what are they thinking? What are they really wants to find during this meeting? So
I see, I see.
it's kind of like a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's interesting how they think,
But the
right?
thing on the bright side, that is the best part about like I would say it's multicultural because we are different nationality, we have a different kind of way of thinking. So that's the best part of it.
Okay, all right. So as I promised earlier in the beginning of the show, we are at the last 10 minutes of our show. So I'll open these to our viewers, those who might have some questions you really would like to ask our panel. So maybe you have already sent in your questions. You have sent in, maybe our technical team will direct the questions and our panels. There's one from Fikri-san. Mr. Fikri asked, don't you feel stressed working in Japan? Is it stressful working in Japan?
For my case, it's not because I enjoy it like every day because maybe I'm still new. So every day when I go to work, I get to learn something new. So for me, it's kind of fun. And also because I like to travel. So during my holidays, I get to travel around, even though it's COVID right now. Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm having I'm having fun here.
Okay.
So it's
How about
not
you, Zetsan?
For me, I
Is it
think is
stressful?
as long as you enjoy the work, you don't feel any stress because I think it's the same if even if you work here in Japan or even if you work here in Malaysia or anywhere else in the world because you need to put your full commitment in that work. So as long
Okay.
as you enjoy it, and plus right now most Japanese company they do not like, for example, like three of us we do not do zangyo, we do not do OT for our work. So basically there's not really much pressure at work. So like during the
Oh,
work time, you just do your work, and after you finish work, you just relax, do your hobby, what you are happy
you're
doing at.
interested in. Okay. All right. How about if there's any other question? Okay. If there is, no, we'll wait for any question. But while we're waiting, say, Zishin-san, just now you said something which is challenging. What is the most interesting part of your job?
Aside from looking my patient getting pregnant, actually Japanese society they have a the hierarchy which is senpai and kohai, and which I find it interesting because I have a really good senpai, and I would like to mention her because she is a very good one. She is Oyama-san, and she taught me everything about she knows and contribute in my Japanese language. So when it happens when I speak weird Japanese language, she will teach me and correct me by that time. So which is very helpful for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
the
her of my
best
life.
way. That's the best, fastest way to learn.
Yes.
Now, there's another question from Mr. Z Husa. He's asking about Nomikai. May I know, do you join Nomikai often? Is it stressful joining it?
Um For me personally, my clinic, we are full of women and most of them are married. So we seldom have nomikai. So how about Jet Sang? Maybe Kigyo have much more nomikai.
I can say probably once in 3 months, not so
Oh.
often.
Okay.
But stress, it's not stress, but if got the chance, I don't want to join it. Because like most of the colleagues in my department during those times, like they are all like really older than me, which is by maybe like quite a lot of older. So when during the nomikai, when we want to have like this conversation, it's not like how to say, it's not our night. It's not
I see. There is the age gap. See,
because there's a age gap, and plus Japanese, when they go to nomikai, they really drink a lot, and after drink they start to get lost conscious about that, and then they start to talk,
yeah, it
talk
means
about something nonsense or
the
something
the
not
topic becomes
shouldn't be talk.
wider. Okay, how about you, Winnie-san?
Because I came here last year when COVID it's already happening. So I had a few nomikai, and for me, the first one was not really a good one. Everyone was really kind, but because I was so bad in alcohol, like even a sip, I get drunk. But
Oh.
yeah, yeah, I did. They didn't force me, but they did offer like, would you like to try or would you like to go for non-alcoholic drinks? But because I like to try almost everything, I said I'll just try it. But I overestimated myself and then I got drunk. Yeah,
Okay.
but I would say the whole nomikai was quite fun. Like because like as Zed said, there's age gap, but because the age gap in my team it's too big that they see me like little kid. So yeah, they really take care of me.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think
it was
they don't force you, correct?
they don't force
Yeah,
you.
they don't force you, so you
They,
don't have to feel stressed.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's one question from Miss Izati. This is actually the last question I would like to ask you all. So she's asking, what's your biggest advice to those who plan to work there? If those who are planning to work in Japan, what is the best advice would you give? And may I also join this question and ask one more extra? Like you all have been learning Japanese and living in Japan. Is there any like Japanese word or Japanese phrase which inspires you or which you think it motivates you? If anything, can you please share with us? Okay. How about Zishin-san?
Okay, my favorite Japanese phrase will be mirai to wa kyou de aru. So in
Oh.
English, which is your decision today will define your tomorrow. So to answer Izati's question just now, so Pritu, if you decided to come to Japan, my advice is it depends which kind of company you are going to work. Is it a Japanese company? Is it a foreign company? But still, I think you need a basic Japanese language so that you can communicate in your daily lifestyle. So when you make a credit card, when you're going to rent a room, I think you still need a basic Japanese. And for this phrase, I think that you really need to step out for your comfort zone so you can have a better view of your new tomorrow. That's all from me.
Oh, that's interesting. How about you, Zetsan?
And for me, actually, my motto, my favorite phrase is Nanakorobi Yaoki, which translate, I'm not really sure about the English version, but maybe about this. But in general, translate in Malay, it is usaha tangga kejayaan. So basically, if
Yes.
you want to get anything, you just need to usaha, you just need to try to do it. And this is, I can relate in my experience because when I entered this Japanese program, my 3 years back in Malaysia was the toughest years for me because when everyone else, my batchmate, like they enjoyed their life after SPM, I need to struggle like learning new language, Japanese, and we have Japanese tests every week. And when we need to pass the test, and the passing score is like 70%, it's like really high. So it's really, really, really
Yeah.
toughest years for me. So, but after that, I couldn't say it's become easier. I couldn't say it's easy, but it become a little bit easier after I came here to Japan and after I'm having leading my life right now. So
Okay,
basically,
thank
if you want to have anything bright in your future, just nanakorobi yaoki. No matter how many times
yes,
you fall,
yes.
you just need to get up and try again.
Yeah. That's very nice. Japanese proverb. How about you, Winnie-san? Last one.
Okay, so my favorite phrase would be これは人生だ. So it would also answer to the question that the viewer asked just now, like, this is life, you only live once. So whether it's good or bad, you just have to accept it. Like, before I came to Japan, I worried a lot. Like, because my Japanese isn't that good, so I'm kind of worried, like, what should I do? Like, if I'm not good in Japanese, how can I live there by myself and stuff? So I worried a lot. But then I came here and I realized now that there's nothing that you have to worry. Just grab the chance, go for it, and then you'll find it out it will work anyway.
Yeah, that's the spirit. Now, I guess we are running out of time. We have reached the end of our show. To our three energetic brothers and sisters, Taihen Otsukaresama deshita. Despite tomorrow you have a working day, it's already 10:30, I think, guess in Japan now. Thank you very much for your time, for joining us. I'm sure our viewers must have had some inspiring motivation, insight from your sharing. And for those who are studying Japanese in Malaysia, well, maybe thinking about working in Japan, maybe this was something motivational for you. And to borrow what Jishin-san said, Mirai wa kyo de aru, means your future actually starts from today, correct? What you are doing today
Yeah.
is what will determine your
Yeah.
future. Okay? Ganbatte kudasai. And to our technical team who was behind the scene, without you, our show wouldn't have reached this point. Thank you very much. And last but not least, to all our dear viewers, thank you very much for tuning in, joining us today. Stay safe. Good night. Oyasumi nasai and sayonara. Jane. Bye.
Bye. Sayonara.
Bye.
Sayonara.